Hey gang, welcome back to Jade's Garage. Today's video is about putting the fenders on the 68 Mustang known as Jade. If you like videos like this, hit the subscribe button and the bell notification to see more, and hit that thumbs up button. Thank you. Well, I'm progressing on the car. You've been following along, you know the whole build, or you should know most of the build on this car by this point. Originally a V8 automatic car with factory air conditioning. I've done a bunch of work to it from front to back, tons of videos out there on what I've done, and I'm getting tired of seeing it like this. I want to see it with the fenders in place. So that's what I'm going to do today. Now, it's not hard to put the fenders on the car, but there are some things that may help you in the process. Let me show you one. What I like to do, so that I don't put any scarring or scoring bolt marks on the fenders, is I take a piece of plastic. In this case, this is an old milk jug that I cut up into a whole bunch of little squares or rectangles. Now, what I want to do, or what I will do, is take and drill a hole through all of these. The reason is I can take these and put them on the fender. I can run a bolt through the center hole, tighten it down, and the plastic takes all the wear and tear. The reason for that, these bolts have little teeth in them that grab on, right? So if you use a piece of plastic, you get the fender, you adjust it exactly where you want it, and then you take one out at a time, tighten that bolt down, and it looks like it was there from the start. You never had to shift it around and create scratches or problems. So just keep that in mind whenever you're doing this. What I will do is I'll take two pretty heavy washers and I will clamp them around the piece of plastic or the stack of plastic that I have and just drill a hole through it. Put it in the vise, drill a hole, and then I'll have all the plastic ready to go. I've also sprayed undercoating on the inside of both fenders, so that is dry, and as you can probably see, I have the splash guards in place. Now these splash guards, I'm not sure if I bought those at Mustangs Unlimited. I don't remember. You can have a bit of a fight putting those in place, and I'm hoping these don't cause any problems. When I was putting them in, the hole, or the top flange up here, did not line up like it needed to, so I had to do some trimming, cut out some pieces and rebend it. I didn't make a video on that, but just know sometimes you're going to have to massage these to get them in place. They do have a bolt up here on top, and then of course the other bolts go in from the side, so you can't put this on after the fender is on. This has to go on first. Another thing that I did, I sprayed the seam right here. I sprayed that with undercoating, because the idea is this is supposed to keep water out of your car, out of the door and all that sort of thing. So I coated this with undercoating so that it created a seam or a seal, and that's going to keep water out. Other than that, you know, I've cleaned up the bottom here, got it ready to go, and I want to get these fenders on this car. So I'm going to get these pieces of plastic drilled and get them ready, and I'm going to start hanging some fenders. I have not put the plastic on yet. All I wanted to do was get the fender up on the car. Now I can take my little plastic pieces and get the bolt underneath them. It's an easy way to take a fender. All I'm doing is making sure that the rubber gasket that is on the splash guard is actually kind of facing forward so that it resists the water. Rather than, like I said, instead of sliding it back into the fender area, I have it so it's tapered forward, and that way any water that hits maybe get a little more resistance that way. Anyone see where it's at? Okay. Now I already know on the bottom of this, I had to add 3 washers to space it so that it fit the rocker panel correctly. And you know, sometimes you have to use shims, and that's what I used in that case. So right now, that's all I want to do is just get that fender on the car. Now, of course, I've talked about it before. If you pivot on this front section out here, if you raise this part out, it'll actually kind of allow the fender to twist somewhat. You'd think if you're coming out, it'll do one thing, but I don't know if I can show you, but the fender will kind of flex in the middle. So lots of things you can do to try to massage this in place. Now, these should fit the car perfect because I did all the work to them and they were good. So that's all I'm going to do on this side right now. I want to get the other fender in place and move on from there. I might have to do a little bit of adjusting on the hood, but I had not done any final, movement on it as of yet anyway. But I'm really close, which is a good thing. As I was trying to illustrate earlier, by moving this, it changes a lot of things. So I can lift this up. Kind of changes the plane up here just a little. Actually makes it match the hood a little better. But let me show you what it does in the back. So you see the gap. If I rotate that part of the fender kind of up, it actually gives me more space here. You see how it's close? I lift this up in the front and it helps straighten out that line. So just little things that you can do to tweak the shape. It's amazing how much just one little movement can change the whole shape of the fender. And again, I'll massage that as I need to get the gap that I want, but just showing you some things. Now, as I mentioned, I'll be putting shims in the back, or washers, at the back mount point, and I believe this is what I've used before. I think these are the ones I had, test fitted everything with. So overall, the thickness here is almost 300 thousandths, so roughly 100 thousandths per washer. Your results will vary. You just have to figure out what's going to work for you. Obviously, the more you stack, the more the bottom is going to come out or down, let's say on the fender, and it kind of stretches the length of the fender slightly. The less you put in, if you've got a nice tight fit, put the bolt in, it's going to compress the fender up to the rocker panel. So again, you'll just have to experiment with yours. I wish there was more to show you, but I did all the hard stuff when I was test fitting the fenders initially. All the work that I did to the aprons, the core support, everything was done a long time ago. So really the fenders, they're in place. I mean, you can slide them out, you know, or in a little bit. That's the way it is. That's really close. I mean, there's might be able to get just a tiny bit more out of it, but yeah, I think it looks fantastic. As far as the seam, again, it lines up. The gap may be just a hair tighter at the bottom, but you know, it's good. Door doesn't hit anything. I mean, it's super close to being 100% on, but there's really not much else you can do. I mean, I worked on this whenever I was fitting the fender and door together, and it shows, you know, that everything's really, really, really close. So that's all I can really show you on this. There's other things that can be installed at this point, and I can talk about those briefly. Now, of course, the extensions are not ready to go on just yet. Those will come later. I don't want to put these pieces in. These are the forward splash guards, and these have, you know, they're specific left and right. So this one is the left hand, so it's going to go on the back side of the headlight bucket, and then this is the right side. And they've got push pins that come with them. In this case, I don't remember where I got these. Mustangs Unlimited, probably. This one actually says CJ Pony. Yeah, so these are CJ Pony parts. But they come, I can't remember if they came with the screws or if I ordered them separate, but I do have the screws, lag type screws that go in there, and then they have these push pins that go into the bucket behind the headlight assembly. So those will have to come on or be installed later. And of course, I still need to put in the front valance, the rock guard, the grille surround, all that stuff that is associated, but I don't want to put that on yet until I have the bumper brackets. I need to media blast those and get them cleaned up, so I have to take care of those. So that's about it. I mean, fenders are on a car. And of course, like I said, I have this plastic underneath. I'll remove one bolt at a time. And that's where it stays. I did find something else I need to install. 67, 68 hood defender bumpers. Now these can be tricky, because, you know, the hole inside can fight with you as well as the hole that's out here. Sometimes you just have to cheat a little bit. So I'm going to put a little Windex on this, and then, you know, a lot of times, well, you just push on it. No, it doesn't always work that way. There's a couple different techniques you can try. Is you can push right in the center and see if that will go in, because a lot of times, I think that's how they did it on the assembly line. They took a screwdriver and they pushed into the center of the bumper, and that kind of dragged it down inside. Now, this is probably not going to do exactly what I want it to do, so I'm going to switch tactics a little bit here. I've done this before. I've taken a small screwdriver and kind of helped it get started down in the hole. Again, be careful with this, because, you know, you've got fresh paint. You don't want to chip stuff. And I can't say that these are 100% even, you know, necessary, but they were here when the car was built. So Now another thing you can do is, because you have access underneath the fender, you can actually grab that and tilt it back and forth while you're pressing down and kind of stretch that rubber into the hole. Yeah. So there's a couple different things you can do to make this happen. But that's it. I mean, not much to it. Basically, you repeat that with the one that looks like a heart, kind of. Put that one in the back.